The contentious Karnataka socio-economic survey, commonly called the Caste survey, Vasudha, began today across the state. This despite the polarizing political debate around the survey remaining intense and multiple PILs before the Karnataka High Court challenging the survey and seeking a stay on it being heard by the court. The court will hear the matter tomorrow. That will be decisive. But 1.75 lakh enumerators have begun the exercise, Vasudha.
That's right, Veera. It's a politically sensitive issue with questions raised over classifications of subcastes, even amongst Christians, that have caused an uproar. 35 such classifications like Kuruba Christian, Brahmin Christians, they've all been masked in this survey. Leaders and seers from different communities, including dominant Vokkaliga and Lingayat sects, have had several meetings also, and they have sent out clear instructions to people to classify themselves as others, or they've also talked to politicians about it. The question, Veera, is if this will fuel more political divisions. Listen in to my colleague Deepak, who has explained this issue.
Seems like the state government, of course, is very clear on its stand that they want to go ahead with this socio-economic survey. But however, there has been opposition that has come from within the Congress as well to it. Multiple, community leaders have come and, they have stated their objections as well. There were certain concerns, especially pertaining to, the column where Christians would be marked as, Vokkaliga Christians, Lingayat Christians, Kuruba Christians. This is something that's going to be masked as something that they've already clarified. But even then, of course, there were several people who were unhappy. They wanted it to be deferred, but Mr. Siddaramaiah, of course, was very clear that they will go ahead as planned, and the caste survey or the socio-economic survey has begun today. But in the High Court, meanwhile, of course, there has been multiple petitions that have been filed challenging it. Today, some of the key, arguments was that one is that this violates the Aadhaar Act because, they're linking it with Aadhaar and geotagging while they collect this data. They're also saying that this is a form of census, and as far as conducting a census, this is a complete prerogative of the central government. Now, they've also asked for an interim relief here. The interim relief is that there should be a stay on the survey until the matter is completely heard. It is once again going to be taken up tomorrow in the Karnataka High Court. We'll, of course, be tracking all the developments there to see whether there's going to be any form of setback really for the state government in its attempt to conduct this survey as soon as possible.
So multiple complexities there, multiple layers of politics involved in this. Joining us is Professor Chandan Gowda, who's followed Karnataka and our caste complexities very, very closely. Chandan, thanks very much for speaking to us. Could you just explain to us first why it's so contentious and whether there will be anything substantial, in your opinion, out of this?
We will know it only after the results are published, Veera. But if you remember, the biggest complaint over the last caste census results was the Vokkaligas and the Lingayats felt they had been undercounted. Lingayats especially pointed to a massive undercount compared to the Chinnapareddy report that had done a full caste census in 1984. But this time there were three big issues that came out in the public. One was, of course, why should it be rushed? Can't you defer it? And a 16-day period seemed too short to carry out the entire survey, because the previous survey took almost 2 months. That was one. The second one was, of course, what your reporter just mentioned. Should the subcastes among Christians be counted? There are 38 subcastes were identified. Big uproar. And in response, the backward class chairman, Madhusudan Naik, said, no, we won't count 33 of them. They'll be counted, but be kept hidden. Won't be made public. No legal sanity to that label. And the third objection was, of course, how should the Lingayats identify themselves? Some of them saying Hindu, Lingayat and subcaste. And that Swamiji who asked for this style of identification has been suspended yesterday, actually, by that Matha. And he's a Panchamasali head. That's Panchamasalis right. Constitute 15% of the overall Lingayat community. But still the question remains, should the religion be Lingayat or Veerashaiva Lingayat? Right. And the subcaste be whatever. So we will know only when the results are published.
Right.
But again, the backward class chair has said the religion is irrelevant. We're not counting it. We won't take it into account. It's a survey of castes
but
only.
Mr. Gowda, let's go by one. Let's go to these topics one by one.
Yes.
Isn't it a good idea to have an understanding of who converts and who does not convert? Because the commission chairperson says that this was a demand of the subsects themselves, that they want to identify themselves as a Christian Kuruba, and caste is a reality in this country. Isn't it a good idea to understand how this worked?
Yes, it is. In principle, that's what the commission has been saying. People should feel free to identify themselves as whoever. And who are we to say that they shouldn't identify in this way or that way? But it's a political process, and the backlash has been so intense against identifying the subcaste among Christians. They backtracked and said that we'll collect the data but not make it public. It'll be muted. It'll be masked. That's the word they used. So we'll have to see. I mean, the Christian community's response to this, just too soon. It started today already. So we don't know how it'll pan out, Vasudha.
Right. Very, very briefly, Chandan, running out of time here. I asked you this question at the start. You said we'll have to wait for the results to come out. What's your sense, given the history of the caste complexities and this survey that have been conducted in Karnataka? Do you believe it's 430 crores down the drain, or do you believe that there will be some substantial information that could help academics and perhaps target reservations?
Again, Veera, we will know this only after the results are out. I mean, if the numbers conform
What's
to
your
what
guess?
yeah, I mean, we'll have to just wait. We'll have to just wait. And please remember, Veera, the publication of the results may take time. The census may get finished,
Right.
but we don't know when they'll be released.
Yeah.
And there'll be leaks
Right.
that lead to further
You've
controversy.
spoken.
Yes.
But Professor
You've
Gowda,
spoken like a true academic.
yeah. Please go on, Veera.
No, I was just going to wrap this conversation, Vasudha. If you have a question, just go ahead.
Professor Gowda, I just have a feeling that sometimes, the dominant communities are being heard a lot. Is there somebody listening to the OBC, SC/ST communities as well? What is your sense of the situation?
See, that's the thing. The media isn't covering them, but I think this entire time communities are mobilizing at local level, saying you shall identify yourself as this and not that. So these will be interesting to watch. How much of it has succeeded? If the Vokaligas are asking for time, it seems to me that they've not had the chance to mobilize like this in terms of asking them to clearly identify themselves along these lines.
On the guess of what will come out of it, you've taken the academic stand, which is to wait for the information. But thanks very much, Chandan, for joining us here. We'll keep a close watch on that caste survey, most importantly on the developments in the court tomorrow, Vasudha.